So hello and welcome. Today is week 11 of our training, and today we're going to cover something special. Very simple and basic tool, but yet very powerful. So let's just get started. And I've been doing this in every training now. If you don't have an app yet, scan this QR code with your camera, download the generic Canadian mortgage app. If you already have an app that's branded to you, even better, then you can use that in our training and you can follow along. If you need support, please type into the Zoom chat. I will answer all the questions at the end. And then also at the end of this training, I'm going to be here for another 30, 40 minutes to answer any questions related to the app or any other parts of the app. So it's not specifically to this training. If you want to email me, ben@bendigi.com. You can also join our Facebook group. It's at Canadian Mortgage App. It's a group. It's not the page. It's another channel for us to answer questions. And hopefully the members on this group can also answer questions. Okay, so this week it's about GDS TDS. What is it? It's gross debt service. So this is what the lenders use in order to see how much of your income is used towards home expenses. So that's your gross debt service, GDS. An example could be 39%. There's also another thing called TDS, total debt service, and this is similar to GDS. It takes into account all the home expenses, and in addition to that, it does the other debts payments that you have. So car payments, credit card payments, all that. And that should be about 44% or even less. So it really depends on the lender here. Some lenders go higher, some go lower, and it also depends on the person's credit, you know. Okay, so let's do a manual calculations. I wanted a way to visualize this. I wanted to see how can we see GDS, TDS together, and really I came up with this thing here. So GDS basically takes into account your mortgage payments, PI, your principal and interest, property taxes, heat, and if it's a condominium, the condo fees, and about 50%. I did cover this already in the stress test training last week, but we're just going to get a quick refresher because the stress test tool and the GDS tool or GDS TDS tool are very, very similar. They solve for different things. So this is what the GDS looks at: the mortgage payments, property taxes, heat, and condo fees. And then TDS says, I also care about other debt payments. So it kind of engulfs GDS, and then it adds the other payments as well. Another way of looking at it is this way. It's a vertical view. This is the GDS, and this is the TDS. So really, that's how I think of them. That's how I see them in space. Okay, so how it works. Let's do a quick example together. So assume you have a mortgage balance or mortgage amounts of $500,000. You got an income of $125,000 per year. Property taxes of $400. Heat is $100 a month, and condo is $500 a month. And you got this car payment that's $300 per month. Okay, so that's our baseline scenario. So the first thing we want to do is we want to convert that mortgage amount to mortgage payments, because that's what GDS and TDS need. So we're going to take that, we're going to isolate it, and we're going to use the qualifying rate. And for that, I have this app. So it's part of this app. It's part of your app, actually. It's called Simple Mortgage Calculator. So let's just quickly dive into it and see what we can get as the mortgage payments. And it's very basic. You put in the amount. I already have it. You get $500,000 of a mortgage balance at a rate of 5.25, because that is the qualifying rate. I explained how you get the qualifying rate in our last session in the stress test training. And it's not always 5.25, really depends on the contract rate as well. And we set the amortization to 25. We get a payment of $2,979.59. So that's our mortgage payments. Now, the next piece is, let's sum it all up, because we know GDS and TDS need different things. So this is the ingredients for our GDS, and it sums up to be $3,729.59 for the month. That's our home expenses. Now, in order to calculate GDS, it's very basic. You multiply this by 12, so you bring it to an annual home expense amount because our income was annual. And then you just divide this home expenses divided by your income. You get a percentage, 35.8. That's your GDS. So that means that your home expenses right now have been, it's currently 35% of your income. TDS says, well, hold on, let's see what are the other debts. And we did have a car payment. So when we add that piece in there, we get a total of 4,029. And now we use this amount for our TDS calculations, which works out to be 38%. Of course, it's higher, so it uses more income. So that's really what the GDS TDS tool does. And we have a tool that actually does that fairly quickly. So if you want to try it out, it's in the GDS TDS. I mean, it's a tool you can just get in, and I already have some information here, but we're going to start a new scenario. So create a new scenario, and we're going to call it Bob. Make a red. And there are some defaults in here, but let's punch in the actual numbers that we use. So we had a mortgage amount of 500,000. We had a income of 125,000. No rental income from this property. Property taxes, we have it as $400 per month. Of course, you can also enter in an annual amount right below it, and it will convert to monthly. Condo fees, we said it was 500. And you can see that I use 50% of it because that's what the rule is. Use 50% of the condo. Heat, we're going to leave it at 100 because that's what it was. Other monthly, we had a car payment of 300. Oh, I made a mistake here. It's not 500, it's 300. Yeah, the sum is correct, but this other monthly, I will correct it. And $300. There we go. The numbers match. Great. So our manual worked. That's amazing. That's really all the GDS TDS tool does. It just gives you the percentages. Now, you as a mortgage agent broker, you have to know whether this person now qualifies, because you can take them to a specific lender that approves them under 35 and 38, and you know that this person can actually get approved potentially. We also put some easy buttons. They're not actually buttons. They're just quick indicators to show you where you are. So if it's red, means it's failing this GDS TDS. And you can see it's passing 3944, which means your current GDS TDS is lower than this guy. Now the slider makes it even better. So if you need to approve the guy at something lower, you can just move the slider on the loan until this guy lights up in green. If you need to approve them at 30 to 40, you can lower the loan amount until it hits green, and that is your loan amount that you can get them approved for. Same thing, I can use the slider if the guy makes less income. You can see that you can use the slider. The slider is not very, very accurate. It just jumps by about 5,000. If you want to get into more accurate numbers, you have to actually enter them in. And same thing with property taxes, condo fees, heat, etc. So that's really it. That is your GDS TDS tool. Now we can do there are some customizations you can do, of course, and it's all underneath this options menu in the top right. So let's see what we got. We did explain this in our last session, so I'm not going to explain this. We can talk about rental income. So let's say this person has rental income, and we're going to use add back of 50%. So that's the setting you can do. Here, you can just quickly use this, and you can set the rental offset and add it to your total income here once I have this set. Of course, you can set it as a custom offset. So if you know any specific lender that takes specific rental offsets, you can add it in here. Let's do 60% as an example. Now it's not changing my GDS TDS because I have no rental income right now. So let me set it up to something. Let's say I'm planning to receive $1,000 per month for my basement rental, just as an example. You can see as I'm increasing my rental income, my GDS TDS is decreasing. So you can see, because I have more income. So the more income I have, the less percentage is my expenses compared to my rental income. So that's your rental income settings. You can also exclude home expenses. There are some lenders who exclude home expenses, and that's amazing because you can go in here and just turn it on, and suddenly your GDS TDS is much lower than it was. So here is a little switch to do that quickly. And here comes the bug, the interest only. So if it's an interest only mortgage and you want to calculate the GDS TDS, if it's an interest only mortgage, then obviously your principal interest would not be $2,979. So all the calculations would be different. It would be much lower because you're not paying off principal, just interest. But in order to do that, you obviously have to redo all the calculations we just did together manually. This tool makes it super simple. You just change the loan type to interest only. And now it's calculating the mortgage payments as if it was an interest only payment. Switch it up a little bit so you can see the change. That's it, folks. I think that covers our GDS TDS tool. Very, very, very simple and super fast to work with. I'm sure there was no surprise, but the bug was in the interest only. So if it doesn't change for you, then look for an update this week. We're putting an emergency update through Apple and Google. Actually, I believe Apple is the only one that has the problem. Google doesn't have the problem. So that sums up this week's training session. Obviously, it's going to be recorded. I'm going to send out also a recording of the stress test tool, which I haven't sent to you yet. That's coming as well in the next email, hopefully today, if I'm really fast. I'm going to send both videos, and I'm going to open it up to Q&A now.